Many cultures are surrounded with the concept of alcohol, whether you go to live music or to a social gathering, a holiday. More often than not, there's going to be some sort of alcohol there. But we have the choice to decide to eliminate that from our life. One of the main things we all know is how toxic it is to our liver, which it can cause liver damage. We also know about the dehydration. I'm sure most of us watching this video have had an experienced hangover. If I've had anything more than 2 drinks, then I typically feel that the next day. I am mentally just not clear. My head is foggy and I have much lower vibrations because the alcohol had more control over me than I had of it. And now I'm in this place where I'm not feeling so great about myself. Why am I spending 2 to 4 days not able to think clearly? I enjoy alcohol in social gatherings because I have a little bit of social anxiety. I think about situations and the anticipation of being social is what gives me anxiety, so I tend to like to have alcohol to offset that. But the thing about alcohol is after it's worn off, we have rebound anxiety, or if you already have pre-existing anxiety, it is going to increase that anxiety. Another interesting thing about alcohol is it actually lowers our vibration. So if you have this intuitively positive and confident energy, you go into a place and you're feeling great, but then you start drinking and your vibration actually lowers, and that vibration stays lowered the days after you finish drinking because now you're hungover and now you're feeling bad about yourself. And if you're trying to do this like personal development, spiritual development, drinking alcohol is only going to get in the way of that because your vibrations are low, and if your vibrations are low, you're not actually able to get into these deeper meditations, into these different realms. No matter what you're practicing, it can be really difficult to actually make those steps in your development journey if your vibrations are low. Aside from the lowered vibrations, alcohol can affect our sleep and our heart rate. I actually did an experiment for 180 days and I tracked with a fitness watch my heart rate. I would have nights where I was drinking at a beach and I would look at how the difference on my heart rate was exponentially high. I was hitting 130 beats per minute during my sleep. That is insane. My resting heart rate was 130 BPM because of alcohol. And with those heart rates so high, I mean, we don't even have to talk about how bad and how dangerous that is, but of course something like that is going to affect our sleep. And alcohol also affects our ability to fall into a deep REM cycle. Our brain does not have the ability to cleanse the toxins from within itself and to process the memories from the day because we're not able to access this deep REM cycle. And it's this deep cycle that we actually feel refreshed the next day. So if you wake up one day and you're not feeling very good, even though you got your 8-9 hours of sleep, it's likely you didn't fall into a deep REM cycle. Although it only takes up a small portion of our sleep, if you don't get enough of it, if you don't get at least around 2 hours, you're not going to feel very refreshed the next day. One thing I'd like to mention too is it can really affect your skin health. Rosacea, premature aging, the dehydration from the alcohol, you can have acne, you can get skin inflammation, the list goes on. So if you want to have nice skin, eliminating alcohol might be a good next step. My skin is not nice, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's because of alcohol. I have really irritated winter skin and I am trying to find the right solution for me. I've tried a lot of different solutions and you've probably noticed it in my other videos, but it is what it is. I am working on it and it's actually healing finally. And the last couple things I wanted to mention is it can be damaging to relationships. We have poor judgment when we're under the influence of alcohol, and whether it's because of what you do while you're on alcohol or how often you're drinking it, it can affect relationships in many different ways. And the last thing I want to say is it's just a waste of money. Can we go back and look at how much we've all spent in the last month, in the last year on just alcohol? It can be an eye-opener. If anyone is out there trying to tell you that you're crazy for doing it, don't listen to them. Listen to your intuition and yourself. If you feel like giving up alcohol is going to benefit you and your goals and who you want to be, do it. But you are trying to focus on yourself, and that's what matters. What you care about and what you're interested in, that's what matters. So I've thought a lot about the different difficulties I may go through and I have gone through in the past, and it is difficult. So you have some days where you're thinking, this is great, I can do this. But then you get into these situations where it's like, I could really use a drink. You gotta think about your triggers. My triggers, some of them are social gatherings like I mentioned before. Other than that, live music, for example, is another big trigger. You go to these events and you're thinking, how can I stand in this crowd and not have something to drink? Like, that's just weird. I'm gonna be the only one not doing it. Personally, when I see someone going to one of these events and they're just drinking water, I admire them. Because think about how much strength and courage it probably took them, and maybe not now, but at the beginning to get to that point, and maybe now. Maybe they're waiting and itching to have a drink. Whatever the circumstance is, I admire them for going to one of these events and not feeling the need to drink alcohol. So I've thought about some different alternatives that I would like to try, and I have tried some of these in the past. A lot of the times we are interested in having a beer, maybe because of carbonation. Maybe just get a tonic water. The other thing for me is I like to be holding something and sipping on something. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be alcohol. Something that I tried this last detox is I drank so much water that it wasn't even funny. Like, I had so much water and I felt amazing. My brain felt so clear. These days I'm drinking about 3 liters of tea. And actually, if you want to check out my 14-day no caffeine video up here, I am drinking a lot of tea, and I give you a little rundown of some of the herbs I was using, some non-caffeinated herbs. If you're interested in seeing a video on these different medicinal herbs that I use, the benefits, any side effects, let me know in the comments below. Another thing I think I would like to try is actually bringing a thermos of tea with me, and I would make sure this is non-caffeinated. I'm just trying not to boost my anxiety. I'm excited. I love the way I feel without alcohol. Hey my lovely souls, so today is actually day 11 of no alcohol, and this last Saturday I got together with some friends that I haven't seen in a while. Don't mind my cat. In these kinds of scenarios, usually I would like to have some beer or some wine. I guess I find some level of comfort in having alcohol in larger social gatherings, and I told myself I was not going to have anything this time. It's something that I've been thinking about for quite some time, that I have a lot of goals that I really want to accomplish, and I feel as if I have alcohol on the weekends, and not even every weekend, but if I have alcohol on the weekends, I am not setting myself up for success for the following week. I am also looking at hangovers. You know, it doesn't have to get to a point where I'm physically ill, but a hangover in a way that I am not interested in doing a lot. I'm not interested in socializing. My communication levels aren't so great, and I just don't want that. If I were to continue a life where I consume alcohol, then I'm really am the one that's standing in the way of my own goals and my own success. And I come from a culture where drinking is very, very normal. Of the 50 drunkest cities in the United States, 47 of them come from Wisconsin. So yeah, the drinking culture is pretty big, and that's something that has been the complete norm for me growing up. So coming out to Europe and being surrounded by people who the drinking culture is drinking coffee, you know, it is pretty eye-opening to see that not everyone around the world values alcohol the way that the people in my hometown, in my home state do. So that's something that I've been actively working to change, and I made the conscious decision this last weekend to attend a social gathering. I had this in my head, like, but this kind of situation, like, you need alcohol, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I had anxiety, and I am going to pin that on a couple factors. One of them is that day specifically was supposed to be a internal, introspective, disconnected day for me. I am really into numerology. That was a day 7 for me, which as a life past 7, that's even stronger, and I really needed that day to be inside and disconnect from everything. But it was a Easter celebration, so I went anyways, and I was already not in the mindset of socializing. But then on top of that factor, I'm going to a social gathering with about 10 people who I haven't seen in a long time, and not having any kind of alcohol, my anxiety levels were like through the roof, and it was pretty obvious. I'm certain that everyone there could tell that I had anxiety, but I stuck true to my word. I have a really positive energy, and I have a lot of things to share with people, and I think I owe it to myself to be comfortable enough in situations without a substance to let that out. And I think overcoming this anxiety in these kind of group situations is generally going to be a pivot point for me in my general anxiety. I wanted to take up my camera and let you guys know about my experience with this last weekend. Yes, it was uncomfortable, but yes, I had in the forefront of my mind the entire time that this is for a good reason. The reason I'm allowing myself to feel this way because I'm trying to make a positive change for my life. Every time I do this, it will get easier, it will get better, and eventually that will become the normal. That's the thing about practicing habits, is the more we do it, the more we get outside of our comfort zones, the more comfortable that outside of the comfort zones becomes our comfort zones. That's what I am hoping I will accomplish with this. I went into this week having a lot of energy. I've already accomplished so much, and it is only Wednesday, and I am so psyched for the weekend because I just want to keep working. And I feel as if I had alcohol on the schedule, I wouldn't be getting stuff done on the weekend. So already it is paying off. I'm able to think a lot clearer, a lot quicker, and my communication is coming out a lot more effectively. One last thing I wanted to mention about this last weekend is I did end up leaving a bit earlier, and in my days when I would have wanted to have drinks and party, I would probably be there until midnight. But I left at 6:30 because I had goals in my mind to come back and finish. The only thing I could really think about through all of it, even when I saw people drinking alcohol, was just, I'm so excited to reach my goals, and I'm doing this for a reason, and I'm going to accomplish these goals because of what I'm putting myself through right now, putting myself through the anxiety. We don't like anxiety, and it's easy to just pick up the drink that's gonna make you feel better, or whatever it is. But in this case, in this circumstance of being with friends and socializing and other people drinking, picking up a drink could have easily solved that, but I left feeling sad, because I kind of am leaving a part of myself behind, and it feels weird, but I'm excited. The reason why I'm leaving this person behind is because I have a vision of who I want to be and what I want to accomplish, and putting myself through with these situations where I'm not quite in my comfort zone is what's ultimately going to lead me to becoming that 2.0 version of myself. So that's about all I wanted to cover for this last weekend. All in all, like, I'm really excited. I'm happy I'm doing this again, and it's only going to be for the benefit of my own personal health, my personal development, and my spiritual growth. So yeah, let's keep doing this, and maybe we'll turn the 60 days into 90 days. Today is day 17 of no alcohol. And this last weekend, I ran across another instance of when I would have liked to have maybe a cold beer. I was hiking around this nearby city called Samobor in Croatia. And usually after a long, hot day of hiking, a cold iced beer is just the perfect way to end the day. And it was very tempting. Me and a friend, we ended up sitting at a cafe bar, which was right on the river, and everyone around us was having a beer, and it's kind of like a ritual, I guess, in a way. It's like a tradition for me to have a cold beer after a hike in another city. Having that beer after a long day in the sun is just, it's really refreshing, and it was definitely a trigger for me. But I'm gonna pat myself on the back here because I went with orange juice. I was thinking about the way the two beverages would make me feel. On one hand, alcohol afterward, I would kind of feel down. It would make me feel a little bit, it would just lower my vibrations. Whereas juice, it would make me more energized, and it would replenish any electrolytes that might have been lost during the day. I feel really happy that I stuck with that decision and went with the orange juice, and it was very refreshing, and I do not regret it. So that was pretty much the only trigger that I ran across. So far, my mental clarity has improved daily. I don't really have this mental fog. I'm actually getting my sleep schedule back on track again and it's feeling really good. I was up at 5:45 a.m. this past weekend so I could take a trip to Samobor by bus, and walking around the city and seeing the few people that are awake at this time and looking at how much I was able to accomplish and get done by 10 a.m. was just amazing. I felt like if I would be sleeping at this time, I am literally sleeping the day away. It almost felt unfair. I guess you could say that these people that are already awake is getting so much done while I'm just sleeping. And why would I want to waste that time? There's so much I could have done by 10 a.m. You know, I was in Zagreb. I started at Zagreb and I ended up in Samobor and hiked all the way to a castle and was at the top of this castle by 9:30 in the morning. And we looked at the phone, I'm like, what in the world is 9:30? These healthy habits go along with changing your habits with drinking. So I'm happy that my schedule is starting to get back on track and I'm able to really use the weekends for what it is. I actually got a lot done with my own work this weekend, and it was a very relaxing, very great weekend where I spent a lot of time in the sun, spent some time with my animals, did some hiking, some yoga, I did some reading. I got more done with this content, and yeah, it was overall really productive. I am overall very grateful for going on this journey and going to continue to go up this path. But the more that we attune to this new lifestyle and adjust our way of thinking to what is rewarding for us and what aligns with our values and our goals, it becomes a lot easier to say no to maybe an event that you're invited to and you know that would be a trigger for you, or to say no to someone offering you a beverage, or to be looking at a menu and choosing something like an orange juice over a beer. So if you are considering starting a alcohol detox, or maybe you're currently on one, or you've been sober for quite some time now, I'd love to hear your story. So go ahead and put that below and let's encourage each other to continue to live a healthier life together. It does get easier. You just have to stay consistent, and as with everything, consistency is key. So let's continue to rock this 30-day challenge, and let's come back after 30 days. I will see you guys soon. Well, we made it to a full month, and I gotta tell you, I feel amazing and I'm really proud of myself. This last week was actually pretty cool because I didn't really have any of those urges, those temptations, the thoughts of, wow, this would be great to be supplemented with a beer. And I'm feeling a lot stronger and more confident in my ability to control any of those urges or those ideas that I should have some kind of alcohol in this situation. So I have the usual benefits of thinking more clearly and more quickly, and of course having more time in the weekends and energy during the weeks. And also your overall health from not being hungover and not lowering your vibrations. I did mention these benefits a bit on the previous updates, but there's one that I haven't spoke about yet and I'm really excited to share with you all. Even though I'm so grateful for the clarity and the health that comes along with this journey of giving up alcohol, but I'm just so excited to rebuild and strengthen that confidence inside of myself for going to these events where I don't have to rely on a substance. I can rely on myself. I can rely on my inner peace, my inner wisdom, my intuition, my confidence, and I can focus on building that and becoming the heightened version of myself rather than relying on a poison to make me feel better in these situations. I'm just overall really grateful for the strength and the courage that I have to go on a journey that can be difficult. It really can be difficult in this society where drinking is such a norm, and to realize how destructive it is to ourselves and to our communities, and then to put one foot in front of the other and decide I'm no longer partaking in this. I am prioritizing myself and my health, my life, my goals, my determination, my development. Like I said before, I owe it to myself to be comfortable enough in situations where I don't have to rely on a substance. And if I feel as if I need to rely on something, then there is some inner work inside of me that I need to focus on. And indulging in alcohol in these circumstances is really just covering up a root problem. I can tell you right now that I do not regret doing this. It is for my own health and for my own benefit. I know I said that previously, but I cannot reiterate that enough, that if we want to accomplish any goals that we have. Then the brutally honest truth is that we then have some self-analyzing and some reprogramming that we need to work on, so we can actually reprogram our subconscious to guide our consciousness. If your habit is at the level of addiction or a cause of concern, it goes a lot deeper than just giving up a habit. There's a lot of self-analyzing that we have to do to determine where it comes from, and going through the process of really understanding it, learning to let it go. Once we really understand where it comes from, we can then reprogram our subconscious and then start living our lives according to the vision that we have for our best selves. But it does take a lot of inner work, and that is something that I hope to provide through my videos, is some sort of guidance, some additional tools that you can try out at home, and as a base for your own research, as there's a whole world of personal and spiritual development that you can dig into, and the more you learn, the more there is to learn. I hope to build a framework that will serve as a good guide for you to learn how to use the tools that you have internally and externally to then lead you to the life that you desire and the dream life that you envision. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, and comment if you want to see more content like this, and go ahead and click one of these videos over here for more methods or ideas for your own development. And until then, stay blue.